Hey, y'all. Shane Sams here, the host of the Flipped Lifestyle Podcast, the founder of flippedlifestyle.com, and the leader of the Flipped Lifestyle community. I'm super excited to be back with you again today for another training to help you overcome the obstacles, mindset issues, and the junk that's holding you back from building a better future for your family and accomplishing your online dreams. And I've got a good training for you today because we're going to talk about people. We're going to talk about all the people that hold you back. You know, there's a lot of things that can hold you back. You got to overcome when you're building your own online business, time and money and tech and all these other crazy things. But, you know, it's the human element that gets most of us derailed faster than anything else. You know what I'm talking about? Those trolls out there that are lurking and waiting on the other side of every single Twitter post that you make, right? The doubters in your own life that come in, you know, the people you think are closest to you, but they try to like hold you back a little bit and they doubt your dream and it's not possible, you know, those people. And then of course we have haters and critics as well. We got to deal with all these people. We got to deal with the fear of those people, the ghosts that we invent before we even launch our online business. Oh, if I say this, someone's going to be mad at me, right? We have to deal with this. This is something we're going to face head on today. We're going to look it square in the eye. And if those doubters and haters and trolls and critics want a piece of this, well, I'll help you fight them. And we're going to get over it today together on this training. Welcome to the Flipped Lifestyle Podcast, where life always comes before work. We're your hosts, Shane and Jocelyn Sams. We're a real family that figured out how to make our entire living online. And now we help other families do the same. Are you ready to flip your life? All right, let's get started. All right, so there's three types of negative voices that I've really identified and learned how to deal with in our many, many years in online business. And, you know, we deal with a lot of people. We do a lot of guesting on other people's podcasts. We get a lot of critics there. Of course, we create a lot of content that we put out there for free on YouTube and podcasts and trainings and everything else we do. So, of course, we get trolls and haters all the time. And then we also get critics, maybe past customers who have quit and tell us things that were wrong with our business or something we need to improve, or even when our products get reviewed by publications or for awards or for stuff like that, then critics show up as well. So I'm going to tell you how we deal with these three different types of negative voices that can come into your world when you're starting, building, or growing your online business. And I'm going to give you some help in how you should reframe them and look at them and deal with these kinds of people. All right, the first negative voice that's going to come into your online world, into your online business, is the critic. The critic. Now, this could be yourself, your inner critic that comes out where you look at something and say, oh, I wish I had done this a little better. I wish I had went, down this path a little more. I wish that I had worked harder on this. I wish that I could get it done. And that inner critic is good and bad. It's a double-edged sword. It's totally like the yin-yang symbol, right? In a good way, you should be evaluating your stuff and you should be criticizing it and critiquing it and making it better so that you serve your customer more. But criticism, inner critic stuff can turn into perfectionism and it can prevent you from launching. It can turn into procrastination where it prevents you from taking action because you constantly feel like things are not done and they're not worth it, right? So be very careful. When your inner critic comes out, lean into that side that's like improvement and lean away from the side when you feel it being perfectionist. Like, I don't want to launch it. It's not ready. No, it is ready. Launch it. When you feel yourself procrastinating, be like, no, I have to work on this. And don't let your inner critic stop you from actually taking that step forward. It's okay to slow down. It's okay to improve things, but don't let your criticism of yourself hold you back from getting your stuff out there to the world. The other kind of critic is the customer critic or the reviewer critic, someone who comes in and says they don't like something about what you're doing. Right now, our response to critics is often defensiveness. Our response is fight, not flight. We want to go in and say, yes, it is good. Yes, what I love is cool. What I'm doing is awesome. And you just don't have good taste. Like, it's like all these books on the bookshelves now that are like, go F yourself and, focus on you, man. Right? Like, no, we should look at what critics say and we should accept their criticism and we should use it as fire to keep going or as fuel to improve our processes. After I recorded, I think about 15 Membership Masters podcasts. That's my other podcast where I interview leading entrepreneurs and experts, some of the biggest people in the online world, like Pat Flynn and Brooke Castillo and John Lee Dumas and people like that. We talk about how to grow your business, how to grow your membership. And I had someone leave me a really negative review. And what was terrible was it was the first negative review we've ever had. We've had hundreds. I think in America alone, we're getting near 500 reviews for the Flipped Lifestyle podcast, dozens of reviews for Membership Master. If you flip around and change it to different countries, we're probably in the 700 or 800, review range. And for our podcasting. And we've never had a really bad review. And this person must have just discovered the Membership Masters podcast because they were trying to find interviews by the person that I was interviewing. And they said, I love this podcast. This discussions are very deep. And they gave me like a 1 or 2, I think it was a 2-star rating. And they said it's master's level stuff that they're talking about here, but the host talks too much. It's infuriating. I want to hear from the guest, not the host. And I was like, okay. Oh, it stung. I mean, this is a critic, but it made me think like, okay, this podcast is different than the Flipped Lifestyle podcast. That's where people do want to hear me talk, that they're there for me, right? Because I'm giving advice to members who I'm interviewing on the show. So it's almost like a coaching call. And I said, okay, this person is criticizing me, but it's probably there's some merit here. Like, if I'm going to do an interview show, then I need to take this person's advice. I need to talk less, right? And I need to feature the guest more. I'm not here because of ego to make me equal with the guest. I'm not here necessarily to give my 2 cents, which I can still do, but I need to let them talk. I need to give them space. I need to give them air. So I shot a message to Andrew Warner over at Mixergy because I think he's one of the best interviewers on the planet, and he's crushing it. And shot a message over to Michael O'Neill from the Solopreneur area. He's a Solopreneur Hour because he is an amazing interviewer as well. He actually has a course about interviewing. And I just shot some messages out to my podcast friends, and I said, hey, you've been doing interview style shows for years. I have not. How do I get better? And I got some great advice, like lean into your curiosity, make it like a coaching call for you, where you get to find out what they're doing and you get to ask them what they're doing, and you get to learn with all the people on, your podcast, and instead of a thing where you're teaching. Like, don't make it a teaching thing, make it a learning thing. And just a lot of great stuff to make it interesting, focus on stories that are fun, not necessarily just all business. And it made me a better podcast host. It made me a better business owner. And by accepting true criticism, right? Not hate, like you suck, you're ugly, your voice sounds bad, like the stuff like that. Don't accept that that's not criticism. That's hate. We're going to talk about haters in just a second, right? But when you get criticism, embrace it, use it. Ask yourself, is it true? If it is true, what can I do about it to make it better? And use that to move forward and be a better business owner. Or the second group of negative voices that are going to enter into your business are those haters and trolls. Now, haters and trolls are funny. Once you start your online business, when you get haters and trolls, it becomes hilarious. I'm telling you, it's one of the funniest things. Like, sometimes we'll just like read one in our team meetings because they're just so stupid. Like, they're just bored, useless cowards out there keyboard warrioring, and they just have no feedback, no positive momentum. They hate their life. They got nothing better to do but to troll you. I'm like, did you really waste 30? I had someone one time wrote me a soliloquy. It looked like a poem or something. There was like this big, long, hate-filled rant of just how bad we sucked and everything. And there was no productivity, no constructive criticism. And I'm like, you spent 30 minutes of your life writing this email when you could have spent 30 minutes of your life building a better future for your family. And I now, on this side of the success equation, where we actually have a business, haters and trolls make me laugh. They're just funny. They're silly. But on the other side, when you're starting and building your business and you haven't launched yet, I totally hear all the time that this is a fear that holds you back. Some people have a membership, have a podcast with 20 episodes, have social media set up, but they will not go live because they know that somebody at some point is going to say something hateful. They're going to troll them, and it's not going to be good. So how do we deal with trolls and haters? The first thing you do is realize you are in the arena and they are in the stands. And we don't need advice when we're down here putting our blood, sweat, and tears, and we're breathing in the dust in the middle of the Coliseum. I don't have time for the peanut gallery in the crowd. When I was a football coach, the weirdest thing happens once you actually step foot on the field. When you're in the locker room, you can hear the crowd. When you're walking from the locker room to the field, you hear people say, hey, Coach Sams, hey, so-and-so. Or you hear people say, you guys are terrible. You suck. You're going to get beat. Like, you hear every word of it. But when you make it to the sideline and the game starts and you're in the game, there's kind of a dull roar, but you never hear the crowd. You never hear the stands. You never hear the hate. You never hear anything. You just go into your own little world. So the first thing I would tell you is get in the game, hit launch, get out there, and make sure that you are actually focusing on your business and not focusing on the chirping coming from the peanut gallery, right? Get in the game. Another thing I would say about haters is post and ghost. Like, just post and ghost, man. Like, you don't need to be sitting there and following every comment and every like and everything else, and if you can't handle it, turn your comments off, right? Like, turn it off. You don't have to let them comment on your blog post. It's not going to affect you in any way, right? Great content. People will find it and people will use it. Okay. Social media, post and ghost. Do not read the comments. There's nothing good there, right? There's nothing fun there, right? And if you have to, have someone else, your spouse, your significant other, maybe hire a VA to watch the comments for you and only pass through the good things so that you see the good stuff, but you don't get any of the haters and the trolls, and delete them. You have power. They have no power here. You're in total control of your website and your social media and everything else. Like, they have no power to stop you. They're cowards. They're losers. They have no life, right? So we're not going to listen to cowards and losers who have no life. We're going to create systems that protect us from the negativity, and we're going to post and ghost. We're going to send out great content. We're going to get customers, and we're going to let that go. And the cool thing is, when you have a membership site, you have a paywall. We almost never get negativity in the Flipped Lifestyle community. I think we had kind of a trolley comment at one time. Someone was, but they were more frustrated at themselves, I think, and their progress and their results that they were getting, because they weren't putting in the work, weren't putting in the time, and they turned it back on us. Like, well, if you would just give me more, if I could just have free one-on-one calls with Shane. And I'm like, dude, there's hundreds of people in here. I can't do free one-on-one calls for every single person. Right. And they were mad maybe because they couldn't do that. And it was just really trolly. But, I just told my team, I said, delete them, send them a message. And if they do it again, cancel them. We don't need their money. We don't need their money. We don't want their money. And I'm not going to allow negativity, complaining, and excuse making to ever work into the Flipped Lifestyle community. We are doers. We are doers in the Flipped Lifestyle community. We are not triers. We're not dabblers. We're doers, right? And we don't complain and we don't make excuses. We figure things out and we get results, right? That's the way I want our community to feel. So we just don't allow it. We don't allow it. This is our corner of the universe, our corner of the internet. We are the benevolent dictators in our own domain, and so are you when you start your membership community. You got to take care of your people. You got to take care of your mental health, and you do not have to deal with those people. So post and ghost and delete things that get through, and you will feel a lot better about yourself. And do not ever let a hater or a troll who will never do anything with their life stop you from launching and do something with your life too. Now, the third category of negative voices that can get inside your head and inside of your business when you're starting, building, and growing a business, and this one's maybe the hardest one to deal with, are the doubters. These are the people in your real life. These are your friends, your acquaintances, your family members who maybe doubt what you're doing, right? And it can be really tough. Listen, my wife doubted, Jocelyn doubted this in the beginning, and then she got on board. And then my mom and dad, when I quit my job, oh my gosh, my mom cornered me in her kitchen and put her Southern mama finger right in my nose, 3 inches from it, and said, Shane Sams, you have lost your dang mind. But she didn't say dang. She said, you've lost your dang mind. You had a good job. You had insurance. You've got babies to take care of. I cannot believe you have done something so risky and reckless. And but then once she saw that we were okay, and she saw that everything was okay, and that we were making way more money than we ever had made before or ever could have made, and we were, we bought our new house and we had our lake, and all these things that we did, she was like, well, I guess that thing kind of worked out, didn't it? I was like, yes, it did. But when we told our small group at church that we were quitting our jobs, it was 30 seconds of dead silence. Everyone's jaw hit the floor. We were like, hey, we're quitting our jobs this week. And I know some of you know that we've been doing some stuff online, but man, if you could just pray for us and, we keep working hard and we keep growing and this thing works out, we'd really appreciate it. Stunned silence, shock. And people all day that day were like, are you sure you want to do this? Boy, that's risky. Boy, that's risky. You sure going to do that? And the people that we love the most don't always understand all the variables in our own life. So there's no way they can see the big picture. So give these doubters in your life some grace. You don't listen to them. Most of them are in their lane on their railroad track, and they don't want to be taken out of that space. And it's uncomfortable for them when they see someone take risks and take chances and go out there and start building a better life. And they really don't know how to process it. There's a great story that someone told me one time of lobsters. And if you put like 4 lobsters in a pail, they could climb out. Like they have the ability to climb out of the pot, right? And you'll even see sometimes one will make it to the top. Maybe it's crabs. I don't know. Crabs or lobsters, something with pinchers and look like spiders, underwater sea spiders, right? But they'll climb to the top of the pot and they'll almost make it out. But then the other lobsters will be like, no, and they'll grab them and pull them back in. And it's because, they'll try to climb to the top and then they pull each other back in, and they don't realize that if they just all work together, they could probably all get out of the pot, right? It's the same thing with people in your life. They just don't get it. They just don't understand. And you can't expect them to understand. They're not watching all of my videos. They're not listening to all of my podcasts where you're learning about membership sites and online business and success stories and seeing what's possible. They haven't heard the hundreds of success stories from our community, and they just don't get it. Don't expect them to. Give them some grace. Give them some space, right? And for doubters, the best thing you can do is to focus on yourself and prove it. Prove it to them. Prove that you can launch a business. You can. Prove that you can create and lead a membership. You can. And when you do it and when they see it, they will start to believe and they will stop doubting. They may never come around to it. They may still think you're a little cuckoo and a little crazy, but that's okay. The doubt will dissipate and they won't try to use their doubt will not fuel unsolicited advice. And then you can get to a really good space with them in stasis and everything is fine. But doubters, we try to jump to conversion first, and that is a mistake. You have to give them grace first and give them space first, and then prove it through the results. And when you do that, you will convert them to your cause, and they will not try to stop you anymore. So listen, the critics are going to be there. It's a fact of life. I wish I could tell you they weren't, but they are. Are you going to let a critic slow you down or make you better? The haters and trolls are coming. It's the internet. It's 2020 or beyond. Guess what? There's haters and trolls everywhere. You cannot be online without getting haters and trolls. If you think you can make the perfect product or the perfect message or the perfect post that will never get hate, you are wrong. You are absolutely, positively 100,000% wrong. And you got to embrace that. Just post stuff and ghost. Don't listen to the haters. Don't listen to the trolls. Use your power to delete them every time they do it, and take great satisfaction in wielding the banhammer like Thor in the Avengers, right? And get rid of them. Do not let haters and trolls stop you. It's a fact of life. They're going to be there. But you know what? People shoplift and we don't close stores. Right? There's ignorant people out there that do stupid things and say stupid things, and we're going to focus on us and not them. And the doubters in your own life, just give them grace first. Do what it takes to succeed. Prove yourself right with your results, and then you will convert them to your cause, and they will be some of the biggest cheerleaders that you will ever have. All right, guys, that is all the time that I have for this training. I hope that it helped you deal with those negative voices that are either holding you back, preventing you from launching, or when they show up after you succeed, try to tear you down. The truth is, the only voices that matters in your life are your voice and those positive influences. Surround yourself with positive voices inside of the Flipped Lifestyle community right here by listening to these trainings every single week or whenever you get to watch them, and make sure that you are putting yourself in a position where you have to deal with as little of those negative voices as possible. If you would love to get some support and hear a bunch of positive voices, all you Flipped Lifestyle community members out there, go log into the community, jump in the forums, and hang out with some of the most amazing people on the planet. Get in that Facebook group for Flipped Lifestyle members and alumni, and hang out with us and have fun every day. And make sure you're tuning in to all of our trainings, podcasts, and everything that we offer, watch parties, all that good stuff. for our members here in the Flipped Lifestyle community. And if you're not a member, go to flippedlifestyle.com/free, and you can try out the entire program for free. You can join today. And if you love it, stick around. If you don't, cancel anytime. That's flippedlifestyle.com, FLIPPED, lifestyle.com/free. And until next time, get out there, take actions, ignore the negative voices, and do whatever it takes to flip your life. I will see you then. Bye.